She thought it was just another argument, harsh words thrown in the heat of the moment. But one sentence cut deeper than she ever imagined, reopening wounds he had spent a lifetime burying. When silence replaced shouting and distance replaced love, she realized this fight might have ended more than just the conversation. It might have ended everything. Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin. Tasha always believed she had to win every argument. She thought being right mattered more than being kind, and tonight was no different. She stood in the middle of the living room, chest heaving, determined to have the last word, to make her husband understand that she wasn't going to back down this time. But she didn't know, couldn't have known, how deep her next words would cut. "You argue too much for a man," she spat, her voice sharp and bitter. "No wonder you're so small down there." Silence. It hit the air like a thunderclap. A pause, unnatural and suffocating. The tension that had been steadily rising didn't explode. It crumbled into a stillness so heavy it choked the room. Aiden didn't shout. He didn't throw anything or hurl an insult back. He didn't even raise his voice. He just stood there, frozen. His jaw tightened, hands subtly balled into fists, and his gaze lowered, his eyes dimming with something darker than rage. It was pain. It was the kind of wound that reached down to the soul, old and raw and unhealed. Without a word, Aiden turned and walked out of the room. Tasha waited. She expected him to come back, to slam a door, to unleash his fury like he always did after a fight. That was their pattern. The storm always came full circle. Yelling, retreat, return, reconciliation. They always found a way back. But this time, there was no storm. Just the echo of her own voice in an empty hallway. That night, Aiden didn't return to their bedroom. At first, she thought he just needed time. She lay in bed, listening for the sound of his footsteps, the creak of the mattress under his weight. But morning came and his side remained untouched. Confused and uneasy, Tasha checked the guest room. There he was, sitting on the edge of the bed, his back to the door, shoulders hunched, silent. She lingered in the doorway, waiting for him to acknowledge her. He didn't. "Aiden?" Her voice was small. "Why are you sleeping in here?" He didn't move, didn't speak. She tried again. "Are you still mad?" Still nothing. Finally, when he turned to look at her, there was no fury in his eyes, no resentment, just emptiness, a hollow stillness that terrified her more than any rage ever could. He spoke finally, his voice cold and flat. "I'm tired." That was all he said. In the days that followed, nothing changed. If she entered the room, he left. If she tried to talk, he barely responded. When she reached for his hand at dinner, he pulled away. He wasn't angry anymore. He was gone, emotionally, spiritually, intimately. He had erased her without even saying the words. Tasha panicked. She did what she always did when words failed. She cooked his favorite meals. Lasagna with garlic bread, his mother's roast chicken recipe. She left post-it notes with hearts on the bathroom mirror. She even sent old pictures of them smiling on vacations to his phone. But none of it mattered. He ate in silence. Didn't reply to the messages. Didn't even glance at the photos. She tried humor, tried reminiscing, tried tears. But Aiden remained distant, a ghost in the house they once called home. One night, she stood outside the guest room and just listened. The soft click of his phone. The occasional rustle of the bedsheet. It was the sound of separation. She pushed the door open. "I know you're still hurt," she whispered, "but we can get through this, can't we?" He looked up, and for a second she saw something flicker in his eyes, but it vanished before she could name it. "You think it's just about what you said that night?" he asked quietly. She froze. "It's not," he said. "It's years. Years of letting words cut deeper than you realized. Years of never really listening to each other. That night wasn't a breaking point. It was the end." Tasha stood there, speechless. She wanted to deny it, wanted to argue, to push back. But what would be the point? For once, she couldn't fight her way out. What she didn't know, what Aiden had never told her, was the story behind his silence. As a teenager, Aiden had been the quiet one, sensitive, kind, a target. In the boys' locker room after gym class, a stupid joke about his size turned into a school-wide rumor. By the time he was 16, he had a nickname he couldn't shake. Girls laughed behind his back. Friends distanced themselves. The girl he liked, the one he thought was different, told her friends he was barely a man. That one moment shaped him. He carried the shame through college, through every relationship. He never said it out loud, but it was always there, and a wound no one could see. His last girlfriend cheated on him. When he asked why, she simply shrugged. "You don't do it for me," she said. When he met Tasha, she was different. Bold, fiery, loving in her own complicated way. For the first time, he thought he could finally leave the past behind. But that night, her words didn't just sting, they tore open every scar he'd buried. "You argue so much for a man," she'd said. "No wonder you're so small down there." That sentence didn't come from a stranger. It came from the woman he thought was his safe place. It destroyed something he didn't know could still break. Tasha tried everything: apologies, dinners, kindness. She begged, pleaded. She even cried in front of him, hoping that maybe, just maybe, he'd soften. He didn't. Then one night, she walked past the guest room and saw him packing a suitcase. "No," she whispered, stepping inside. "Aiden, are you leaving?" He didn't look at her, just folded a shirt and placed it in the suitcase with mechanical precision. Her voice cracked. "Please talk to me. Please don't leave." Finally, he turned. And for the first time, she saw him, really saw him, as someone broken, not because of her words alone, but because of years of silent suffering he had tried to outrun. "I don't know if I can come back from this," he said. "I don't know if I can look at you the same way again." Tasha's knees buckled. "I love you," she cried. "I didn't mean it. I was angry, stupid, trying to hurt you, and I didn't think." He nodded slowly. "That's the thing, Tasha. You didn't think. You just struck." She wiped her eyes, voice barely audible. "Then tell me what to do. Tell me how to fix this." He looked at her, eyes softening ever so slightly. "You can't take back what you said, and I can't unhear it." She braced herself for the goodbye. But then, after a long silence, he added, "But I'm not ready to walk away. Not yet." It wasn't forgiveness, it wasn't a guarantee, but it was something. And for Tasha, that flicker of hope was enough to fight for. Aiden stayed that night. He didn't come back to the bedroom. He didn't hold her, but he didn't leave either, and that meant the story wasn't over. The road ahead would be slow, painful, and uncertain, but it would be real. And sometimes love doesn't survive on apologies alone. It survives on the decision to stay, even when it hurts. Tasha sat alone on the couch, scrolling through old photos on her phone. Laughter-filled vacations, birthdays, quiet selfies on Sunday mornings. She paused on one of Aiden, half asleep, coffee in hand, wearing her pink robe. He hated that robe. She smiled and then cried. Every day since that night had been an emotional war zone. Not because of shouting, but because of silence. Aiden had become a stranger who slept in the guest room. Still in the house, still polite, still breathing the same air, but no longer hers. Aiden sat with a cup of tea. Tasha entered quietly and placed a note on the table before walking out. He unfolded it. Note: I've started therapy. I want to learn how to stop using words as weapons. I want to heal me, and hopefully us. He stared at it for a long time. Tasha at a therapist's office, visibly shaken, talking about her childhood, her father's harshness, her fear of vulnerability. Aiden at a men's support group, quietly sharing his teenage humiliation for the first time. Awkward dinners turning into short conversations. Aiden walking beside her at the park, both silent but close. Aiden standing in the hallway, hesitating, before placing a pillow and blanket back on the guest bed instead of the master. Aiden sat on the edge of their bed. Tasha lay on her side, not sleeping, just watching. I want to believe we're more than our worst moments, he said quietly. Tasha turned toward him, voice trembling. I never wanted to be your wound. You weren't, not at first. You were the balm, he whispered. But you became the blade. They sat in silence. Then Aiden added, and I became cold. Distant? That wasn't right either. Tasha sat up. Can we start again? Not erase, but rebuild? He hesitated, then nodded slowly. It'll be different, but maybe better. Counselor, forgiveness isn't always about forgetting. It's about choosing to stay, choosing to try. Every single day. Aiden reached for Tasha's hand. This time, he didn't pull away. And she didn't push. They lay together. Close, reconnected, not fixed, but healing. Tasha whispered, I used to think love was about winning. Aiden smiled faintly. And now? Now I know it's about surviving the moments that try to destroy you. He brushed a lock of hair from her face. She added, Thank you for not leaving. He kissed her forehead gently. Thank you for not giving up. Some words break us. Some silence builds walls. But in the spaces between, love can grow again, if we're willing to unlearn the pain and choose each other anyway. Don't let one cruel moment define a lifetime of love. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more emotional stories every week.